Hello, this is story 26 or 27, I'm not sure. Um, I was wondering which one to do next. I've had a long day at work, so if I'm a little out of it, I gotta drive on with these stories because I want to get them all done. And I've got some big ones coming up, but there's also some what I consider minor ones. And that would be this one probably, but honestly, this was pretty scary to me when I was about 11 years old. My parents lived in Sodus, New York. Sodus. I don't know why that matters, but Sodus, New York. And we lived in this old house. It was built in 1860. It wasn't anything fancy. It's pretty nondescript, two-story wooden house. The house had definitely was haunted, and obviously, ghost story. My dishwasher's running, so well, I'll review this video. I'll make a determination whether or not I want to go with this or not. I've got to get my dishes done, and I want to get my video done. The candlelight and all this stuff and darkness behind me is my living room. And my dryer's broke down, so I've got laundry hanging up in there on lines that I strung up. So it's not just for ambiance. I don't want you to see my laundry hanging up behind me, but I kind of like the way the effect too, honestly. All right, let's get this story done. Today is the day that the actor Kirk Douglas died. It's also the day the Senate voted not to impeach Trump. I'm not going to get political on this at all, but Kirk Douglas died today, and so he plays into this. No, I didn't pray for him like the Superman thing. I'll tell you why. So the house, two-story, 1860 house, had a lot of character. We talk about the house a little bit. I remember it had a weird walk-in attic, and we used to take a fishing rod, and there's a space between the wall and the floor in the attic, and we used to lower a treble hook down and see what we'd pull up. We'd pull up a lot of antiques. And that place was full of antiques. Be worth some money nowadays. Women's clothing from the 1800s that were looked like they were brand new. Children's toys, really old, probably from turn of the century, 1900. Quite a bit of stuff. Really odd. Old phonograph in there. The old records that looked like a canister. And there was a record player. And the records, they looked like a coffee can. They were really, really old, like original. And it would be worth so much money now. And the house, remember, had some haunting things. I remember our dog, family pet, was growling and barking at something in the living room, in the corner of the living room. And my dad, my mom, and all of us stood there and watched it. And yeah, we all kind of agreed he's growling at something's there. There was absolutely nothing there but an empty corner to look at for us. But the dog was angry, terrified, growling at some invisible entity. And even my dad, who wasn't superstitious, said, well, I guess we're not alone here, and let it be at that. I'm just building up to what happened for this story and how Kirk Douglas is part of it, which is, he's not really part of it, but you'll get it. Something happened to me in the basement in that place, and I don't remember what, but I remember it was significant, and I decided never to go down there again, and I didn't. All right, on this story, I was downstairs. I was only like 11, 12 years old. I was downstairs by myself. The whole family slept upstairs, so I was by myself. And it wasn't a school night, so I was sitting up alone, watching a movie by myself in the living room. And the movie, this is where Kirk Douglas comes in. It was an old movie, Spartacus, and I thought that was so cool. They got Must have had like 1,000 extras in that old movie, all dressed up and duking it out with swords and stuff. So yeah, Kirk Douglas was in that as Spartacus. And that's why I'm telling the story, because I was wondering, what story do I tell next? So he made the news today. He's 103, lived a pretty long life, obviously. Passed on. I used to like his old movies when I was a kid. So I was watching Spartacus in the living room. And adjoining the living room, the next room over, would be the kitchen. And it was a large kitchen. And the kitchen was cleaned, and on the kitchen counter by the sink, up against the wall, probably that far away from the counter's edge, this is the wall, the sink, counter's edge, there were about 6 pint glasses. I remember they were the ones they used to give out for free. Really heavy glass. They'd have like Tweety Bird and Bugs Bunny on them and stuff. You'd get them for free when you went to McDonald's back then. And we had a bunch of them. And they were cleaned, and they were sitting up again on the counter by the sink, pushed back up against the wall. Well, I'm sitting there watching this movie Spartacus, getting into it, it's all by myself downstairs, and I hear a crash in the kitchen. I jumped up and ran in there, and all those glasses were on the floor, broke to bits. All 6 of them had moved off and slid and smashed. And I'm just going to tell you the truth. I didn't freak out. I wondered about it a little bit, but then I just cleaned it all up, and as soon as I cleaned it up and didn't really give it a second thought, I went back in to watch my movie. Don't ask me why I didn't freak out, because there's really no explanation for how that happened. It wasn't an earthquake or anything. But all those glasses just somehow moved off the counters and smashed on the floor. So I cleaned them up, swept everything up, and went back to watch my movie. And I just sat down to watch that movie when I hear pop, bang, pop, 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 bang. And I jumped up. Now I'm afraid after what had just happened. And now this was going on in the kitchen. And I got to show you, we had a chandelier, an old one, in the kitchen. And the one I have in this old house I'm in now is quite a bit like it. So I'm going to show you that chandelier. I'm going to turn the lights on. Yeah, I did pay my electric bill. There's proof. Okay, see this chandelier? One bulb's brighter than the others. It was like this, but there were no covers. It was just light bulbs coming out. There wasn't a cover, but it was very much like this, and it was all suspended on a chain like this one. And I ran in there, and all the light bulbs were busted out. Every single one of them was busted, and moreover than that, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want this thing to fall, but the chandelier was swinging around like crazy. It was really like somebody had hold of the chain and was just swinging it. It was spinning around in circles, and yeah, I freaked out. I mean, it really looked as if somebody had hold of the chain and was spinning the thing around like that, very violently. And all the bulbs were busted out. That's where I heard the pop, 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 bang, pop. All the bulbs blew out. The glass they were busted. Every single light bulb. And the thing was violently moving around. And like somebody was shaking it violently on the chain that it hung on. So I started yelling. I was scared. I'm just a kid. And I woke my dad up. And he had to work. And he wasn't very happy at me waking him up. He didn't want to hear about any ghosts. I tried telling him what happened. Because it was quite a commotion. All the stuff breaking and stuff. And me yelling. He didn't like being woke up. I wound up getting hit. I got hit. So, and he told me to go to bed. That was the end of that. No, actually he didn't. He just hit me. I got swatted and he didn't do this stuff very often. He wasn't not a violent person. With this one case, I got hit because of a ghost, a poltergeist, more aptly, in that place. And yeah, I heated my bottom up pretty good, you know. Ah. So that's that story. It's just me getting my butt whooped because of a poltergeist. So that's it. And that house, there were more things that happened. Actually, that's the house I was in on one of my stories when God paid me a visit and gave me a choice of two paths. That was in that house. That's some other weird things. I think I'll throw this one in too. My bedroom was on the second floor, and I had my own room. It was a pretty big house. And one night, I hear this on the window by my bed. My bed was up against the wall, and I go, and it would go, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's weird." I go, and then it'd go again. And it's like somebody was playing a game with me on the other side of the window. And very briefly, I thought it was kind of weird, kind of neat. And then the realization crept into me, like, what? I'm on the second floor. Nobody's outside my window. And then I got really creeped out. And I stopped playing that. I stopped. And that's it. I don't know, you hear my dishwasher doing its work. But that's the story. I don't know, what do I call it? Poltergeist. We lived on Smith Street. Poltergeist on Smith Street in Sodas. So that's that story. I've got another story I was going to tell that just happened. You know, if you're thinking these are all from the olden days, they're not. I got a whole bunch that are recent. I'll get around to those, but they involve other people that are still around. So I'm trying to figure out how to cover these without. I don't want to bring anybody up in these videos that may say, "Hey, I don't want you know, I don't know." But yeah, I got some more recent ones. So yeah, I'm really tired. I worked really hard today. So, but I want to get these done because I want to talk about some things that I've put together through all these events, and that's a haunting event, and I've got some that are different. So, all right, that's it. I believe it's story. I'm not sure what it is, 26 or 27. I'll get it right in the title. I'll look it up before I post it. That's it. Yeah, I remember that scared me pretty badly. I think it would anybody. All right, thank you.